daddy, no. Yo, how come in the 90s and the 80s, like, it seemed like everybody was losing their father or no one knew who their father was, so they're finding out the identities of their fathers? I don't know. But anyways, as you can see here, it won a lot of awards for it. So if you don't know what this is, welcome to Reviews from the Six. My name is Cedric, but you can call me Ceddy Said. And today we are reviewing the Uncanny Xmen, A Son's Pain. And as you see here, it won a award, or 5 of them, in 1996, the Wizard Fans Award, whatever that means. And of course, you have your writers, which is Scott Lobdell, and Joe, looks like Joe Motti. And then Tim Townsend did the ink as well. And of course, you want to know what the art looks like, right? Because you already went over the cover art and that's what grabs you. Like, okay, you know what? I'm going to check this out. So when it comes to the art, there's nothing really spectacular. Like, it seems plain. But I kind of like how they did their hair, as ironic and silly as that sounds. And then, like, some of the things, like, I thought that was, like, cool. That was really cool. Like, I'm glad I saw this because I can go ahead and cover that in the review here. But yeah, it's just pretty much plain. I kind of like the hues, like the dark blues and the blacks. Like, I really dug that. Like, I dug the theme. It was really cool. So, long story short, you want to know what this comic is about and the characters that in it. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you the characters that are in it first so we can get that out the way. The main character to me is Bobby Drake. Now, Bobby Drake is an X-Men and his father is harmed by Grayson Creed. And that's how we ended up in this situation here, which Grayson Creed is the son of Mystique and Sabertooth, but he doesn't have any powers, which is crazy. So he's very vengeful and he has a, he's very vengeful and he just has a sour spot in his mouth because he has no powers and his parents are probably the 2 most evilest antagonists in the X-Men universe, which is just super weird. And then of course you have Gambit and Storm. Gambit and Storm really doesn't play a huge part in here. Now, of course, Storm is here because she plays she's somewhat of the leader, so whenever someone is in stress or someone needs support or someone needs help or guidance, like, she's there. Gambit is really there just because he's the muscle in a way. Like, he really doesn't have a role, but he plays security to Storm in here. Also, too, you have Samson Guthrie, who is Cannonball. He's working undercover on Creed's anti-mutant campaign. Now, they really don't go into anybody's powers in this issue here, which is kind of disappointing. So I can't tell you what their abilities are just yet. But of course, I think I might continue with this story because it seemed all right. Like, I'm not going to lie to you, from 96. So of course, it takes place in New York. And we start with Bobby Drake, and he's in the hospital with his father, talking to his father like, hey, what happened? I'm going to get vengeance for all of this stuff, right? Whoever did this, they're going to pay whoever did this to you. And then in walks, Storm and Gambit. And there's really not a lot to cover when it comes to this issue because it's more dialogue than anything. And it only takes place in like 3 settings. You have the rooftop of the hospital, you have the parking lot of the hospital. And I want to say that's really it. Like, and then you go to the office of Creed, and then I think you meet I think Jean's in here too, actually, because Samson goes to a bar and he communicates telephonically, however you guys want to say it, with another mutant, and then that's how they know he's undercover. But anyways, so like I said, they're in the hospital, right? We don't know what's going on with the dad. We just know he's wrapped up and bandaged. And then they cut to our man, Samson, right? And Samson's really not doing anything. He's just pretty much telling his story. Hey, I'm Cannonball. I'm working undercover. Creed is a very bad man. He's trying to get his anti-mutant or anti-human campaign going, which would put a lot of restrictions. People would have to register being human. Pretty much violence. Kind of like how black people went through segregation and things like that. Early on, it's the same thing that's going on with the mutants in a way. So they want to stop it. So he's undercover to see what's going on with the campaign. So you kind of get a little deceit here. right? So now keep in mind, they're trying to find out what's going on with the anti-human campaign and what's going on with the father of Bobby, but we just don't know. So long story short, villains pull up to the hospital now all of a sudden, right? Because they're like, okay, we found their location. It's time to eradicate them. So they pull up to the hospital, and this is where Wolverine's story come in. So they pull up to the hospital like, boom, let's blow the hospital up, right? And Wolverine is like, wachink, nope, not on my watch, guys, not this time. And he goes to work, right? So now you still have Storm and Bobby on the rooftop, and he's just pretty much telling her like, I don't know what to do. That's my father. I love him. You know, I don't want to lose him. I feel like I don't want to be an X-Men no more. I'm despaired, you know, so forth, so forth. Storm pretty much lets him know it's going to be okay. I lost my parents too. I wish I knew more about them, but at least you know your parents. Now, Gambit is keeping, you know, security of his father the entire time, of Mr. Drake. And like I said, there's really not a lot that goes on, man. It just, they're going back and forth. And I think you just feel sympathy for Bobby Drake. And I think that's why it won so much awards, because it actually pulled like an emotional string. And at that time, in that era, like I said, it was a whole bunch of, you know, who's my father? Luke, I'm your father. Oh, I wish I would have known my father and knew his capabilities. So it's pretty much just two dudes. One is mad at his father, right? You have Creed, who is like absolutely mad at his father because Sabertooth is ruthless and he has no abilities, right? And then you have Bobby here, who has his father, but his father doesn't have mutant abilities. His father is just fighting for the good of the mutant people. So now you kind of have the seat, right? You cut to the airplanes or the jet where Bobby's on there with Creed, and Creed is just kind of like, yo, like, what would you do if you found out a secret about your father? Like, what would you do if you found out you weren't human, pretty much? And Bobby's just kind of laughing it off, you know, whatever. So all of a sudden, they kind of kick Bobby out of the jet. Boom. He goes, I have a surprise for you, right? I need you to finish this job for me. So he runs up to go finish the dude off, and he sees that it's his father that's badly hurt. And that's how we ended up in this situation. So to me, in a way, it does feel like a filler to the other issues. But I need to read those to figure this out, because like I said, it's not bad. It's good dialogue, and it is about, you know, just loving your father and things of that nature. But you really don't get any action scenes. You don't see any abilities on display here besides Wolverine showing up and taking care of the guys that's in front of the hospital that want to blow it up. So like I said, there's more to this. And that's where I'm going to open it up to you guys down in the comments below. Is this a series I should continue with? Like, what are some other issues I should pick up on to know more about this series and more about Cannonball? Because I don't know anything about Cannonball, so I don't know his powers. And then even with Drake, like, there's not a lot of, or not with Drake, but yeah, with Drake, there's not a lot of abilities that they focus on in here either. So like, what is the importance of this issue, and how did it win so many awards in the X-Men arc? Let me know that, because I don't know. So let me know down in the comments below. Also, make sure you hit that like button, because if you don't hit that like button, the YouTube algorithm is not going to show you more content of me or of this. So make sure you hit that like. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because your vibe attracts your tribe, and that's what brought you here today. So make sure you hit that and become family, y'all. Make sure you hit that notification bell, because if you don't hit that notification bell, you will miss all my future uploads and all the good content that we'll be uploading this year and going forward. Also, hit that share button. Make sure you share this video to any and all social media platforms, especially, specifically to anyone that you think this would be cool to or beneficial for. With that being said, I just want to say thanks for joining me today. Peace, love, and blessings.